morning, everybody.
Hello.
Trying to make myself visible through my video, but it's not working again, so I will spend more time into that. So yeah, so good morning, everybody. So today we're going to go through the management process, mainly to showcase how you can use management to promote your change requests from Plex. Um, we did have some issues with the lab. So we are not able to use outside services. We wanted to showcase the web service promoter, but we just need to focus locally on the machine. I'm just going to paste in the chat the location for the lab. So please try to get into that. I will show my screen right now and show you how you're going to work with the lab. Please try to do this now because that can take some time to actually publish. So I'm sharing my screen, and here I'm going to put, okay, so when I share my screen, all the control just goes someplace out. Okay, so this problem when I share my screen, I cannot see the chat, but I try to figure out how to do that. Okay, first I'm going to send the chat then. Okay, um, this is the location. It is in the chat now. I'm going to show how that will work. Okay. So using that link that I sent to you, you will get to the Azure Lab, and this will ask you for a Microsoft account. It can be one of any of your Microsoft account that you have, or can be an Outlook account. If you try to use another account, you may not be able to get into that. So any of these two domain, any of these two type of account will work. One that you have from Outlook or one that you already have from your company as a Microsoft account that can work. I think there is a way to create a new account if you don't have one from Microsoft, you can create one. Just use the Outlook domain, okay, and this will allow you to continue. If you already have an account, then you can use it, right? And you will get to this page uh, where the machine is going to be public now. You will see that in your specific right now in your local browser, you will see that it's starting. So that can take some time to start. So if you can do that, please do. The idea is to have this as a hands-on lab, so you want to be working with this and not get bored just listening to the steps that we're going through. So please make sure that you have access to that. If anybody doesn't have access, please let me know. Let me know with, I think you will need to unmute yourself and just chat out because I cannot see the chat when I am in full screen. So maybe the best way is just unmute yourself. You can unmute yourself and just let me know you have any issues with this. Okay, just be aware of that. So I'm going to stop this and share my other screen to be able to start with the presentation. Okay, just bear with me. Okay, so we are ready to go. Please let me know if you have any issues with your lab machine. We will try to fix it as soon as possible. If you don't have an account for Microsoft, please create one with the Outlook. There is another option there that you can follow. So yeah, just create an account with the Outlook or any the machine, and you will be able to get into your lab. Is going to be starting. When it's starting and it says running, then you will click in this icon. So you will be able to, what it will do is just download an RDP file that will have all the information to connect. And then that connection will require some credentials. The credential for that is going to be, okay, I don't know if anybody has used Zoom before. Is there a way to have the chat when you're sharing your screen? I don't see an option there, so it's going to be. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing again, and these are the credentials. User is going to be tech and password is going to be tech TM 2020. So you have that information there. You can use that to log in. Just make sure that during just a little bit of slides, you are able to actually start your machine and be able to have it ready for when we need it. Okay, so let's go back to sharing my screen. Okay. So like I told you, one problem that I see with this Zoom is that when I have my screen share, I cannot see chat. So if you have something to tell me, just I think there is an option to raise hand, and if not, you can unmute yourself and let me know if you have any question. Okay. So without further ado, we can start. So like I told you, the idea is just to go over the Matchpoint process. Trying to show how Matchpoint actually process any change request. We will go through, this is, like I told you, we have some issues connecting to the AS400, so the TUI side is not going to be possible. So we're going to focus right now on the Plex side and using a Windows application for the lab. And I will try to explain how that can translate to an RPG program or the AS400 side or a Java application. Okay. So we will make an overview how Matchpoint can fit on the DevTool change. We have been discussing this since a long time. We in Sinfield are trying to find the best way to have a tool that can help for the CA Plex and CA2 workshops to provide a tool that can at least help in the process to implement DevOps. And that is the idea for Matchpoint, one of the main focus. My name is Eric Quiroga. I work for CM First as a senior consultant. Also, I am the product owner of Matchpoint. We have some development in the process. We're working right now in making Matchpoint being able to deploy web services from the TUI PGM and service program with the PCML option. So we have that product almost ready to be available, so you can actually deploy a web service from the TUI generation, SOAP and REST. It's easier. I don't know if you have seen the latest version of TUI that now support that also. One of the issue there is that it's just promoting from each environment. You have to enter all the information every time. For MatchPoint, it's not necessary. You just set the web service once, and the web service can be deployed on all the different environments and different web servers. So we're working on that. We're also working on finding a way to include Plex. As you know, Plex doesn't actually have a good way to generate REST services. So we're trying to figure out a way to include that option in Matchpoint where you can have like the server side functions, and Matchpoint can get all the information from the Plex model to understand what are the input and output and try to create all the configuration settings to be able to deploy that into a web service. That is the new feature we want to include because we see that the microservices are making your application available to the world is kind of important. So that is something we want to include in Matchpoint as well. Okay, I'm going to just tell you that the DevOps matter. Yeah, we need to find ways to make life or the life cycle of application to be faster, to be able from the change request or from the creation of request to the end of the cycle when you promote that. So we have some benefits. We will be able to define software delivery with minimum risk. This is because we are doing um, more delivery of the program with smaller changes. This makes the risk low and also allows to increment the process and the possibility to add value to every time you develop something or every time you deliver something to the customers. Okay, so bear with me. I have some people waiting. We're supposed to have everybody automatically connected. Okay. So yeah, like I was telling you, um, we want to make this faster. We want to ensure quality while moving faster with DevOps, collaboration, automation, feedback and monitoring, and service virtualization. So we want to avoid a couple of things with in DevOps, that is faster release. We don't want to deliver we don't want to deliver a lot of releases with the value. A lack of optimum tool chain. This is right where we want to provide with Matchpoint as a product for the DevOps, where we want to make sure that Matchpoint can help you on the Plex environment and on the TUI environment to be able to promote or to be able to have all the application cycles in one tool that can help to start from the getting the request all the way to the production or promoting to the production of the changes. Okay. Why do we want to use tool? Well, DevOps is not like one product that you can buy. So you will need different tools for different part of the tool chain that DevOps try to implement or ask to implement. It's very important to know what are your needs, what you want to do. It's not necessary to do all at once. You don't want to put all your process in one big change of culture at the moment. So you want to do by stages. You want to go put one process maybe first, try to find the right tool for that process to implement. And from there, you will grow up in the DevOps implementation. And this is where we try to continue improving Matchpoint in that process. So this is what you will need if you want to implement DevOps. You will require a tool for planning, a tool for tracking the issues, to source control, to build and test, to continuous integration. So this means that you can have all the sources in the right place and can be updated when it's needed, and continuous deployment, so you can move the sources from one place to the other. The configuration management, cloud platforms, monitoring logging. communication that's related to all of the other tools, and knowledge sharing that is also related to other tools. So the ones in orange are the one that Matchpoint kind of help you with. So we have the issue tracking, the source control, the build. The testing, we use third party for this. So that's the reason why we should start there, because it's not a completely Matchpoint process. We use third party test tool like SmartBear, and we are now trying to integrate with help system process to tool for testing. So we're trying to adding more options to the management process. Okay, what we will normally have issues in our environments is how to control the change and changes for an application for the issue tracking. Can we maintain multiple versions of an application? The Plex model is kind of a special creature where you can have one model with multiple versions, and you can have one model with multiple variants also. And that is kind of a problem when you have multiple developers, multiple variants, multiple versions, and you don't have a way to make sure that everybody is using the correct configuration every time they need to make or work into something. So that is one of the challenges that we try to solve with Matchpoint. Multiple application. This means sometimes you have multiple models or Plex models, and you want to have them all. So you have multiple applications working on, and you want to have them all in one place to be able to control that process. Other thing is the identification of the Plex objects being worked and not deployed to production. One of the issues with Plex is that it's not like TUI, right? When you start working in one object, you cannot work. Another developer cannot work that in TUI. It's kind of easy because it's just one location where the model exists. With Plex is different because each developer will have its own local model where they will work, and you may have issues where somebody is working on something on one object and the other people is working on in the same object, and you will find this at the end of the work and when there is conflict in the update process of the model. So with Matchpoint, you can help to Matchpoint sorry can help you to identify objects that are not being promoted to production, that are being working at the same time. This can help you a lot to avoid any conflicts. Um, at the source control, one thing that we do and kind of improve the performance of the Plex group model maintenance is doing versioning of the group model. One of the problems with the group model is that it's not cannot be merged. If you make a change in the group model and somebody else make a change in the group model, this will update the group model. There is no process to be able to merge that as any other sources that can be done. So Git is not possible in group for the group model because of this. This is just a big number of files that need to be updated. So there is no merge capability in the group model. So Git is not possible. That's the reason why we use another tools. One of those tools is Subversion, and that has the benefit that it will actually lock the group model, make sure that nobody actually is working while you need to update that. So what the integration with Matchpoint is allowing you to have just one person working in the group model at a time, and this lock the group model, just let everybody know who tries to update the group model that this is being in use, and then you can wait. And this process is done automatically, and Matchpoint doesn't. Matchpoint actually does all the backend process for this version, like getting the latest to your local machine, updating from your local machine to the repository. All of that is doing through Matchpoint. So it's not Git possible, but yeah, there is another versioning for the group model. That is one of the main thing that we think is helping the most, because normally you will have a group model in one shared location, and you will have one developer that is kind of the model manager, and he will take care of handling that. Allowing this versioning is really easy, because now you can have like a self-server group model where the developer is actually the one that takes care when he needs to extract. He can do the extract by himself, and he can do the update by himself. And because of the versioning, if you have something that you don't want or you want to revert, you can actually revert the group model. That is one of the things that can be done using the Subversion integration with Matchpoint to revert to one problem that's not possible any other way if you don't have versioning. So the source control with the Matchpoint integration for the group model is very useful for that reason. Yeah, we can also version the Plex generated sources. Management support that you have multiple repository for the sources. This is something that has been supported always, but the inclusion of the group model is the good part for the Plex environment. We can automate a full generation when you change, for example, a Plex version. You may need to make a model, full model generation, or when you have multiple type changes, like in a Plex list, you can also use Matchpoint to generate that. This is unattended. One of the issues that that Plex has is, for example, before the latest, I think it's in the latest patch for the 721, where they kind of use 64-bit capability now. But previous to that, Matchpoint was 32-bit. Plex was 32-bit. So this means that when you have big generation or big process for generation of a big model, Matchpoint will crash. So it will only support like, I don't know, I think 300 or 500 is the number that Matchpoint can handle generating depending on the size of the function. And after that, it will just get the process will not be able to handle anymore, and the Plex model will crash. So generating a big number of function was not possible, or is not possible for all the version of Plex. With the general build tool that Matchpoint has, it is possible now, because what it does is just recycle Plex. So it just generate a bunch of objects, then just close Plex, and then reopen Plex to be able to avoid this crash thing with the problem for the 32-bit. And now in the latest one, with the latest patch, I think it's in the latest refresh patch, that they do include support for 64-bit and not only in the Plex exe. So yeah, this is something that if you have an old version, you can use that. Continual integration. One of the things is that sometimes you can find your group model not up to date. So somebody has something that hasn't been updated, but by any reason. With the integration in the group model is really easy. We try to implement ways in the sense that uh, one local model for one change request. This means that every time there is a request in the management process, we generate a new local, and this local is used for that change request. Then it's updated the group model. Then that local is not needed, and you need to and when there is another change request, you need another local. This is the focus of Matchpoint. We understand that sometimes the group model is so big that having one extraction per change request, if you have a lot of change requests a day, can take some time. So that is how we can create something called in Matchpoint cumulative change requests. So you will have just one model for multiple change requests, and you can handle the same way as one. So that is another thing to. We can integrate with the party. Yeah, we have something called user-defined process. User-defined process is kind of like a way to call any type of process outside of Matchpoint. This can be external applications, external window application, external Java process AND process where you build or you do some compilation in the Java side. So it can integrate with multiple third-party tools, and also can integrate with the testing tool that is Test Complete. So we can integrate with a lot of other party tools, and also in your program, in your feature for Matchpoint is to integrate with Trello. So Trello is a very good planning tool, and we want to integrate that when you move from planning to kind of development, it can actually tell Matchpoint, okay, create this change request for this now that is being approved or something like that, and continue with that, and the process from Matchpoint is going to be free. Continuous deployment, we can automate the build and deployment of the new functionality. The continuous deployment is a process from Matchpoint that we call a promotion. So when you promote from environment to environment, sometimes you may need some process in it that will allow you to build something. For example, on a web application, when you generate your Java sources from Plex and using web client, this is a web application. So after you generate the sources, you need to create a WAR file, a web file to be deployed in a web server. So it's something that Matchpoint can also take care of that. So yeah, like we were discussing, sorry, manage the request and change. Yep. Plex model management. Yeah, we do that. The gen and build, unattended gen and build for multiple variants, version and systems. Automate test, we can, right now we can work with Test Complete. The process is like this, the Matchpoint process is like this. So normally from outside Matchpoint, this is, so from outside Matchpoint, this is anywhere outside Matchpoint, right? Somebody needs a change, and that can be, we're trying to integrate this with Jira. We understand that some people or some companies already have their ticketing system, and what we want to do is integrate with Matchpoint those ticketing system, because the main issue we may have with the ticketing system is that they cannot handle the Plex model very well. So that's the reason why Matchpoint can help with that and can integrate with any other ticketing system. So there's a change request, and the process is like, normally it's like this. So we're trying to get rid of something that is popping up. So we have the change request, right? This is a change request created object. We will work on that in the lab. Approve the change request and assign the change request. So it's something that we can have a Matchpoint user permission or user group privilege that would allow you to approve a change request or assign a change request to a developer, and things like that is normally in the ticket in any ticketing system. We can support the use of a model manager or a model administrator, right? So the process is that the model administrator can create a blacklist track, then assign a change request to that track, and then assign a developer. And then the process continue with generating all the process in Plex, like importing the Plex object. We will see how that is done in Matchpoint. And update the group model. From there, all of this is actually optional. You can assign a change request as a community, so part of another thing, depending on the type of application that you are doing. Generate a tool, generate a view, a packaging tool, QA, run automate, all of these optional, all of these steps are optional depending on the configuration. One of the benefit of Matchpoint is support a lot of multiple configuration. You can have one web application, one WinC application, any type of application that CA support can be configured in Matchpoint and can be configured accordingly. All the steps accordingly to that specific application. So now, so I know that some people just got in. So in the chat, there is a link. I'm going to close this. If there is any question, please let me know. So in the chat, there is a link that will point to, let me do that again, just to help everybody that just got in. So please open a browser, and there is a link there. Please use that. Oops, that is not the one that I need. Okay. You will see that this will ask you for a Microsoft account. You can have a company, a Microsoft domain account, so one of your company, or you can use one free Outlook email, sorry. If you don't have any of those, you can set to use another account and create one. I just got a notification that some of the Gmail account may work, but it's not for all. Then there's some that are actually domain account, paid domain account in Gmail. So if you have any of those, you can try that. If not, you can create one. You can create one, use Outlook domain, right? And this will help you to with the process. Once you have that, you can go back to the link, log in with that account, and you will see a machine there. Or you will see a machine there. If you just enter to this URL, you will see that your machine is going to say starting. Just wait until it says running. When it says running, when it says running, you will see this icon kind of at the beginning when it's starting is grayed out. When it's running, you can select to connect to that virtual machine. What it will do is download RDP, an RDP file. Just save it wherever you want to save it. And once you have that, you just run it. And the credential up there, so the user is CM Tech, and the password is Tech, T, uppercase T, or capital T, capital CM 2020 pound key. I don't know why it's not able to be shown, but yeah, the credential there, if you have any problem with the credential, let me know. This will allow you to enter to the This will allow you to enter to the virtual machine that is created. All the virtual machines are the same, right? So it's very, kind of, the idea is that you have everything the same, so nobody has anything to install or anything to do, just use the application. So, so let me know if anybody has any problem getting to that. Okay, I think you can. I'm going to stop the share because I'm going to see if there is any chat. I didn't get any email with the link I did for my other session. Well, the link is in the chat, so let me know if that makes sense. And the credential are there, so that is the only chat that I have. Okay, there's no other questions. So get back to the. So the idea to go over this kind of management process in the desktop, you will find a file that is called DevOps Exercise 2020. Once you have that, you will see all the steps that you want to do here. So first we want to, okay, so it's not, it's like the WordPad doesn't support all the features. So let me just give you a summary of what we're going to do. So we're going to go over the Matchpoint configuration, mainly. Okay, so I'm just going to showcase or show you all of this. Then we will go, the way the Matchpoint works is Matchpoint once is installed. In this case, this lab is a server and a client at the same time, right? Normally you will have a server and clients is all, all the developers that had Plex installed. So in this case, this machine is both. So to make sure that the Matchpoint is running, you go to service and check the Matchpoint is running. Services and look for Matchpoint. Okay, make sure the Matchpoint is running. In this case, it is. If not, you can restart or restart the service. Normally, everybody should have this running, but if there is any problem with that, you can just restart or start if not running correctly. Okay, so if you have any question, please unmute yourself because I've been told that for some reason I cannot see the chat when I'm sharing my screen. I don't know if something I need to set up in the Zoom configuration, but I just don't see any chat. Oh, here it is. My God. There it is. Chat. Okay, there it is. Now I can see it. Sorry about that. I do. Okay. So some people is not able to see the link. Let's just put it again. The credentials again. Just okay. So yeah. So continue with this. Your Matchpoint is running. So we're going to start Matchpoint. So let's try to go through all the exercise that we're going to do. So we're going to add an application in Matchpoint, and we're going to add some environments. The environment is how you define your application, how the sources are going to be moved on, how you deploy, where to, if there's going to be a backup. One of the benefits of Matchpoint is that you can roll back. So you will need to be able to roll back, you will need a backup directory. In this case, these exercises are focusing on a Windows application generated from Plexus WinC. So it's different if you want to configure, for example, RPG application backend is kind of different. And if you define a Java application, it's kind of different. So the configuration is using the same the same steps, but the configuration values are going to be different for each application. In this case, we just want to focus on the easiest model just to show how much will work, but that can be used in any other type of application. Okay, so I was saying we're going to add the environment. We're going to assign the location. The location is how you uh, develop or how you present your generated application as a whole. For example, you can have folders for the server component. You can have folders, in this case for this WinC, right? You can folder for the client component, for different location, and you can create that in Mashpoint to help you to identify or separate the object that you generate from Mashpoint. In this case, we're going to have everything just one big folder that is going to be called objects. So we are going to create that. The folders are created already in the machine, so you just need to define those in the steps. We're going to define the promotion path. The promotion path is the way that the objects will move when you start promoting, what it will do from moving from one location to the next you will see something that is called developer environment and development environment. So it's like the release folder that you will have in your Plex. When you generate something, there is a release folder for WinC, right? For the Java is source, and for the other platforms different. But in this case, as this is a WinC, you will have a release folder that is defined in Matchpoint as the developer environment. And then there is something called common development environment. The common development environment is where all the objects will reside once you start working with them. So there is a local development environment and a common development environment where all the objects will be moved when they are in development from the different developers, okay? And we will define that option. We will define what is the step that is going to follow. We can have different type of promotion system, FTP or other for the Java. Matchpoint support Plex version 7.2.1 is not added out of the box, so we need to add that to Matchpoint. We're going to define user application. This is just to showcase how you can have multiple application in Matchpoint and multiple user, and you can define the developers to which application can work with. So this is a way to define that. We will define the model manager configuration. This is the process that allows Matchpoint to control the extraction and the update of the model. So we will see that too. Yeah, we will set up the local development environment. I think this is, well, yeah, makes sense in this step. So we will define a model template. The model template is already created. A model template that the Matchpoint uses is a way to have one model that you have all the configurations. So let me show you that. We don't need to create a model template. We're just going to use one that is already defined. So in this case, in the conference folder, there is conference WinC the template. So what is this template actually? It's a normal local model. The only difference with this local model is that this local model, the only difference with the normal local model and extracted local model to work is that has only extracted the library. So that's the only difference. So there is no extraction from the host that will be done for each local model extraction that you will be working on. So the way that this helps is that you define that the libraries, you define the configuration. So you can have, for example, I have this local model for the WinC, and I have, I think, the Java. Okay. Oops, that is not the one. Sorry. Just want to open the template. So the one that I want to use is the template for the Java. So even though it's the same application, you can have different configuration, even though this is a different version. So what this will help is that when the developer just extract um, one local model for one specific version or one specific application, all that information will be defined by default, so they don't need to worry about what is the right configuration, who can help me with that, or the developer or the model manager doesn't have to worry about that. Just extract. Also, other things that can help is the model, the generation options. So we can, in this specific environment, it's not defined, but you can define it in Plex, in Matchpoint, sorry, that you want to use the same options. That include if you have a system I location to generate, that will be saved and you can move that. One of the requirements for this to work, and this is very important, is that once you start working with Matchpoint, all the developers require to have a specific or one standard structure, because all of this is saved in a specific way in Matchpoint that it will point to the directories that is defined in the configuration. So if you're trying to find a local model, we try to find a specific location. If trying to find a group model, is going to try to find in a specific location. So if you have multiple developers, you need to have them at the same structure. This also help to improve the configuration of the different development environment for the Plex side. So if you have any question, you have, well, the chat doesn't show real quick, so unless it's somewhere else. Okay. So yeah, continue with the review the exercise. We will use a model template. You will assign that model template to your application and to your specific version. And what else? We will create a model template, and then we will define the model manager. We will going to use a specific folder for the track directory, for the update directory, and for the group model. And we are going to, here we start, after all this configuration, we will start creating a change request. We're going to create a change request. We're going to assign. This means that we're going to extract a local model for new created change request. Source control and make the change request, generate the Plex. So we're going to actually make the change request on the Plex model. The way that we have integration for this lab is, for example, Matchpoint. You will find, let me close this, and I'm going to show you something that is a problem that Plex is having, and we need to attend that. So when you will be able to open Matchpoint, and there is the credential also in the document for the exercise. Okay, what I wanted to show you is how Matchpoint is defined to integrate. We have something in Matchpoint called Plex import. This is very important to identify how we want to import. We can configure all that information in MatchPoint. In this case, the way that MatchPoint is going to integrate with Plex is through the list. So this means that when we create, whenever we create a change request will have a number. And when we work in MatchPoint for this exercise, we're going to use the list to integrate. So we need to create a list in MatchPoint with the same number that is defined in the exercise. That is the way. That is one of the ways that MatchPoint integrate with Plex. There another way, and that is creating add-ins. I don't know if you know of add-ins in Plex, but you can have add-ins here. Uh, and MatchPoint can create add-in for example, when you are working in the object browser, you can right-click and say add to change request, add to change request. So that is another option that can be configured in MatchPoint. For this specific exercise, we're going to use the list integration. We're going to generate our changes, and we're going to test. And then once we have those changes generated and tested, we're going to import the MatchPoint. And yeah, you have those objects imported. And we're going to promote the objects. You will see, it will ask you to compare right now or at the beginning how the folders are empty, or the ones that we're going to use. Conference, the thing conference, oops, sorry. And I think it's dev, objects. There is no DLL, no PNL here. So you will see then how those objects are moving. And this is the same for Java sources. Is going to move all the sources. MatchPoint identified what objects needs to move. For example, in this kind of application where we define that this is a WinC application, we're just going to move the DLL and PNL. We can also include the exe. In this case, that configuration is just for DLL and PNL. And for the Java sources, you can define what objects to move. That will be the Java, all the Java. When you generate for Java, you have the OB function, OB in, OB out, and panel resource. So there are multiple objects that are generated when you have an application generated from Plex in Java. And MatchPoint just understand all of that and just take care of that process. Okay, we're going to promote. And after the changes are finished, we're going to update the model. And then we can try to use something that we call AutoGen. So in this exercise, if we have time, what we're going to do is create a community change request. We will have two change in one community, and we will define the Plex auto generator. And when you promote this change request, this community change request, you will see that you can generate. And this is very useful for environments where the promotion is the model. So for example, one environment where you have, when you don't move the sources from the developer to QA to production, there are configuration companies where you actually, what you do is just the user tests everything locally, but then instead of moving sources, what is moving is, or not moving, but what is taking care if is the group model. So the process is something like this: developer make the changes, test the changes, update the group model, right? And then promote that change request. But instead of moving sources, what it just do is just change the status of that for a next step. And the next step can be something called developer generation environment. What it will do is use the model. This is because sometimes the sources can be for some reason different to the main developer sources or the local developer. for some reason can be different. And you can have always the source of truth is going to be the model. So you want to use what is in the model every time instead of just moving sources from the developer to QA and assume that the developer generate the correct one, and that is one of the main issue that we can have. So there is an option where the auto-gen processes enters where you actually use the model from the QA forward. So what you do is just define all of that as auto-gen generator. When we promote from QA, so when the developer promotes to QA, for example, it didn't pass any sources, but when the promoter, sorry, when in the QA environment, there is a process to promote or to generate, and this will generate using the updated group model. So what it will do is extract a local model and process that. And this can be helpful for places where they don't want to promote the sources, but the group model. And that's kind of overview of the exercise. If you have any questions, please let me know. We will start with the okay. We will be able to start with the exercise. If anyone has any problem, just let me know. So the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to show you how the configuration. This is something I'm going to show you. Then you can start Matchpoint, and these are the credentials. So the first things we're going to see is, just because of time, I'm just going to show you all those options that we have in Matchpoint and what they use for. Okay. So let me just have always visible the chat so that we don't miss nothing. Okay, so the first part of the exercise is going to be identify how the initial configuration in Matchpoint is done. So we have something called a user group. The user group is the one that defines some kind of permission or privilege that can be defined for the user. So in this case, to be able to use everything, the conf 2020 is actually an admin, but you can have different type of groups to provide a different type of access to the different environments, to what the user can do. One of the main things here is that you can define if when I as a person create with my user a change request, if that change request can be promoted by myself and need somebody else to promote. So it's just kind of provide the administration configuration that may require to be able to have a good process in a way that you don't create your change request, you promote your change request, and you finish all the process by yourself. So this is kind of thing that the group user can help you with. And then we have the user, and the users are very important because this is where you have all the different user. If you have, for example, developing environment where you have to deal with the AS400, and normally this will be the same user ID is going to be the same profile as you have in your AS400. It's not handled the same password, sorry. So there is a password for Matchpoint, and then you will have your normal password so it's independent from that. So you will have a Matchpoint user, and you will have your IBM user, and that is possible. You can even have, for example, a user ID that is not related to the profile in the name or the likeness, but you can use a different profile for that. So this is just related to Matchpoint user, right? And then the user is very important. We will see in the environment that we can provide permission to that. So whenever a user or a developer enters the Matchpoint change request window, he can see all the change requests for the application that he will have permission to work with. So that is something to have related to security also. And we will see how the model configuration is done. So you will have in Plex, sorry, Matchpoint, you have you can open uh, Matchpoint as many times you need to. So for example, you will see that when you create environments, you will have a development environment, and that development environment will with the common development environment where all the sources will be. But for the user development environment, that is different. You will have for each application, let's say for example this one, this will actually the developer development environment will point to the release folder. So from the release folder of the developer environment are going to move to the common developer environment, and from there to create to production. So this is for Plex environments. For example, for 2E environment, that is not necessary because normally in 2E you will have just one library for the generation. So you don't need to define this kind of thing for the 2E configuration. And Matchpoint has support so many configuration that is kind of possible. The other thing that we have is the application. Normally, the application will reference to a local model in Plex or a model, sorry, to a group model in Plex, one model in 2E. Normally, you will have your application created there, and then you will have a version of that. You will create a version for this lab, and you can define the different configuration or promotion path for each application. So the application is kind of a way to much to identify. Okay, Matchpoint can help you to identify like models, kind of a way for the application. That's kind of a relation in the way that the application are. The promotion path, like I told you, the promotion path is each environment. Sorry, each version will have a promotion path. That is very important. Why? Because sometimes you are, for example, you are working in a new version of your application that doesn't have to go to the normal QA environment and production environment because these are for the currently maintaining application. So you may need something like new features environment where you're testing a thing and working in a thing and you don't want to, whenever you promote from the development to go to QA, the same QA as the current version or the same production as the current version. So you can have multiple environments for testing and things like that. That can be helpful. And yeah, that is kind of what I wanted to say. The other thing is the location. So location, in this case, this is very important. For example, in this case, we're working on a client objects with an application. If we were working with RPG or 2E side, for example, the system, a program, let me show you that. I think I have an environment for that. For example, this one is just pointing to system database, so it's pointing to library source, and system programs pointing to library. So the configuration inside Matchpoint, you can have application generated, even from Plex generated for WinC and RPG. And you can have that combination in Matchpoint without much of a problem. You just define where the location of the program for each environment is going to exist, and that way might remove the objects. And actually, for the H400, you can promote the sources of the object. You can delete the object when something is moving, things like that. Okay, so that's kind of an overview of the Matchpoint configuration. Right now we have the first application, the first exercise, sorry, that is going to add an application version. So I'm going to do this by myself, and then I'm going to, this normally will take like 5 minutes, but I will do it myself. And then after that, I'm going to give 5 minutes and you can try to follow. If you don't follow the exercise, you may have issues later on because everything is related, okay? So the first exercise that is called add, add application version. So this is what we are going to work. Okay, and there's something else that I wanted to tell you about Plex. Let me just close that text manager details. Plex. One of the problems that Plex has is that when you open Plex, you open Plex, and you open a model, right? And then you close Plex. Sometimes Plex just doesn't want to die, so it's just keep hanging in there and just be not able to continue to the matching process, depending on the size of the model, depending on memory. There's a lot of condition, a lot of things that variables that may affect that Plex doesn't die. So when there is a requisite that asks you make sure that Plex is not running, just Plex, just make sure that it's not running here and go to the task manager detail and look for the Plex using the P for Plex running exe. If it's still running, just kill it because that is something that is happening I think since always, but now in 2E, in the 721 is kind of even more frequent that have like just hanging in there and not wanting to die. Okay, so yeah, so let's do this. So it's going to ask a couple of things. First is going to ask to open a match point. Okay, I'm using the conference Conf 2020, Conf 2020. Okay, we have match point open now. And then it's going to ask to add a version. So we're going to go to master data application management application. And we're going to use the Conf 2020 application. And we're going to click on the button edit versions. And then we're going to click and add new version. So that will be here, new version here. And for the application is going to be Conf 2020, and for the version is going to be lab. And for the version description is going to be version, and it's going to be active, and then you click apply. So now we have, let's say, a new version from our application. This can be related to a new model configuration that we have, or a new variant that we have in the model. So you can define it like that, and then you can click close. Okay, and then click close. Okay, we are here back in the menu, master data application environment. So we're now going to create the environment, and it says click on the add new button, and it's just defining the values that we want to add. So we will have one there, and the description is going to be development, and the type is going to be development, and the promotion rights is, well, promotion rights not a problem right now. It's just going to let it none. There is no need. And the status before promotion. This is very important. This is the way that Matchpoint define what status is required before promoting and what status is going to be set after promoting. Okay, so in this case, it's going to be development. So a change request needs to be in development before I promote from development. This is what this means. And what else? Just click apply. Okay, and this will be repeat for the other environments. This is going to be a test. Promotion, just leave none. And change is going to, the status before promoting is going to be testing, and the status after promoting. So this is kind of create some confusion. So this is not after promoting from this environment. This is after promoting to this environment, okay? So when I promote from dev to QA is going to be testing, and when I want to promote from from QA to production is going to be testing. So that's the reason why this is like this. And the last environment is going to be O3 PRD. It's going to be production. Okay, production. And production. Rights, don't put anything. This is just the way to define which user can promote to this environment. In this case, as we have admin, there's no need to do that. But for example, if you want one environment to have, for example, only the people that has label file rights can promote to this, you define that, and you go to the group of those users and define that they have this label of rights. So that's the way this works. And status after promoting to this is going to be complete. Okay, and click apply, and then that will end this exercise all the way to here. So please do this, just what I did from the add application version to the finish the add environment. This is 5 minutes. If you can do that, that would be great. Let me know if you have any problem. So just to try to keep the time and try to go over all the exercise. These labs are going to be available, I think, even next week, I think. I'm not sure, but yeah, it can be something that you can try. If you have any problem with this, you can try that there. So what we did is just create a new version and add the environment for that version. We just create the environment. We haven't set the location, so we will do that later after this. Okay, we're getting close to finish the time, so let me know if you have any questions during the process. What we did was just create a new version that can be related to a new configuration in your Plex model or a new version in your Plex model. And we create environments. We just create the environments. We haven't defined the location. Thus, that is going to be done in the next exercise. There is going to define where the objects are going to exist and where the objects are going to be moved from environment to environment. Okay, so we've finished this and the time for this, and we will continue with that. Now we're going to work on the assign location. So the assign location is just where we define the physical location where the objects are going to exist, right? In this case, we're going to define that for the development, for the QA, and for the production. And then we're going to define the promotion part of our application. Okay, so staying on the development environment, we're going to select the development environment and click on the combo box. Oh, sorry, this is incorrect. Click on the development environment and click on the development environment and click on the location. Sorry, assume location, that is what it should say. So development, assign location to environment. And in this case, this environment is going to be a Windows application. So what we are going to do is just define for the location that is used for the Windows object, that is location is called CLI. So we're just going to define these values for object, the object directory, okay, and the object backup directory, okay, and we click apply. We uncheck delete object and delete check out sources. We click apply, and you see now that the CLI um, include a checkbox is now selected. So this means that these type of objects, this is defined initially when you Matchpoint is being installed actually. Okay, somebody just entered. Just bear with me. Okay, so somebody just get in. Okay, you will see that that is defined. And one of the conditions for the promotion to work is that you need to define the same location option in on all the different environments, so you can move from one to the next without problem, right? And that's what we're going to do. Now we define for development, we're going to define for quality assurance, and we click on the assign location, and the assign location for QA is going to be different folders. Okay, and then click apply. That will define that those objects are going to be defined, and close, and then click for production and do the same. So this is for the objects, and this is for the backup. The backup, for example, is very important because that is where and then click apply, all the objects that are changes in one change request are going to be sent. For example, every time you promote something from an environment, what it will do is just create a backup with the change request number and put all the objects that have been changed there. That allows the Matchpoint to do a rollback a rollback in a WinSea application is really easy. There's not much problem. There are some consideration on the AS400 when the AS400 include systemized database objects. So that is not possible to do a rollback. If you're only working with programs, that is possible. But if you have a systemized object, the rollback process is not possible. It's not straightforward. You cannot set back data in that process. So it's something to have in consideration. Okay, so now we define the three promotion objects, sorry, the three environment and the location. And now we're going to use those environment in our application. Okay, so somebody else. Okay, so we're going to add those, we're going to use those environment in our application in a new version of an application. Okay, so we're going to, these controls already a problem. Just kidding. Okay. So we're going to close the environment and we're going to go to master data application. We select our conference application and we select our versions and look for lab version and click in the promotion path. Okay, so this is where we define the object, sorry, the path of how the objects are going to flow. For example, we're going to click new and we're going to add the developer at the first one. We can double click, select. This is going to be one and it's going to be FTP and click apply. Okay, that's it. And for the other one is new and go to QA. So it's very important that you have used the correct names. So this is going to be a sequence 2. It's going to be FTP and apply. So the last one, click new. It's going to be production or pre-production. Going to be in the third. And it's going to be FTP and click apply. Okay. So the sequence fields are, yeah, I know that. And that is related to one of the INI configuration that has not been done in this machine. So that's you just enter the number. Yeah, we saw that, but yeah, it's something we just need to fix in the setting for the INI of the application. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. So whenever you see the arrows is not working in this environment, so you can enter the values that we need. So thank you for that, reminding me that you have. Okay, so for this we have another 5 minutes if that is okay. So let's do that. So if anybody has problems, just remember what we did. We were at environments, and from environments, the first part was to select each environment and click assign location environment, and then define the values that we have for each environment. This is just going to be defined. Make sure that you select the correct location. Don't select anything else because the option is going to be different, right? So select CLI and then add the correct values there for the different objects, and that will be enough. Okay, we're getting to the last part. The last part was just to define to the application version that we just created, the path that is going to do to move the objects. Okay, so it says click apply and then close environment and everything that is there. Okay, so now we will continue with the next steps. Okay, so the next step is just to add the Plex version to Matchpoint. So you go to application and define Plex version, and you will see that by default Matchpoint has 6.1. You click new, select the version, and select the location. This is very important to have flexibility in the definition of the location because there are some problems related to different language location for the exe. So you need to define the correct one. What you can just do browse and you will get to the exe. And you want to define this as the Plex active Plex version, and make sure that 6.1 is not active. And you can even have a local Plex development. So if the user has a specific, even though you have a specific way for a server to have it or a generation server to have it, you can define for each individual user a location they can have. Okay, that is for the application. And now we're going to define the user. So we close our versions and we go to master data user. So we create a version and we now need to add that version to permission to the different users that are going to work with that. So we go to users and select Conf 2020 and click on application, edit user application. You will see that the lab that we just created is not selected. You just double click that, that will add the lab to the permission. So now this user can work with that application. Okay, and we will also set up the model configuration for the user. I think this is already done. Let me check something here. I think we don't need to do this yet. So just make sure the first part is kind of done. So we're going to allow this user to open model, to update the model, to all those option is done. So the only part that we need to do here is just define where the location of the model is going to be, right, for this user, for this specific version of an application. So what we do for that is just click, select the configuration, create a new configuration, okay? So we're going to add new data. We're going to select our application. There's going to be lab, okay? Select button. And here is where we are going to put where the model directory is for this user. In this specific machine, as everything is local, so you just have one location, but each developer can have his local in one different location. So this can be done. In this case, that's what we're doing. Click apply, and you will refresh, and you will see that lab here. Okay. So what we did is just first we select the user, we give permission for that application. And once we give permission to that application, we went to the model manager configuration and we define where the model, the local model is going to exist for this application when the user wants to extract and want to work with, sorry, to work with. Okay, so that is part of what we're doing. And the last part of the setup is just going to even sorry, in the same location. So we should have it out in the same location. We're going to select Conf 2020. Okay, select the user Conf 2020 is what it should say here, and edit developer environment. That is this button, and then we will look for O1 dev. For some reason, this is not in the correct order, but we will look for that. This is the one that we need, O1 dev, or you can put that here, and this will look for that, and we will find it. Okay, we just need to do this for the development environment because the user or the developer will have his object in one specific folder for the Plex generate. Okay, just select that. Okay, and it's going to present a new window with this, and this is where we want to define the location. So we are working with the location CLI, and we're going to define where the developer objects exist, right? And promotion is going to promote object, and click apply. And you can refresh and you will see that you will have CLI object. So when you import, when they generate this from the developer environment, can move to the common development environment. Think of this as, for example, this is the local and the development environment that is located in this folder. This one, this location, is think of this as they can be a share where all the objects are going to exist, and this is just the location where you generate conflict. Okay, so that is what we're going to do in the next 5 minutes. So let's start. Okay, so we will continue. Does anyone have any questions? Just let me know. Now we're going to define. We're going to define the model template. Like I explained to you, the model template is just a way to define all the configuration for an application that you can use for extraction. So we're going to close the user. The model template is provided to you. There is no template creation in this process. So we will just define that and we will use one that is already created. So we're going to extras, model manager, and edit models. And the edit models, we're going to click add new data. And the create model panel, we will define these options. So conference, please put lab, conference lab. This is going to be model template for the conference. Okay, the file name is going to be all this. So this is the model that we will use as template. The status is going to be not extracted. The type is going to be template. The application is going to be, well, the user is going to be automatically defined. The application is going to be conference app. And the version is going to be lab. And the version, the version that we're going to use is 7.1. Okay, so that is for the creation of or template. So we just created a template. You can see that would end with lab in this case. And then we're going to configure the model manager. So the model manager is the way that we define this version, how to interact with the different group models or group model, and where to extract and things like that. So we will close this window, the edit model windows, and go to master application, and this is going to be applications. Okay, and then select Conf 2020 and click edit versions, and we're going to select all version, and we're going to, oh sorry, that's not what I want. And we're going to click on the manager configuration, that is this MM button. This is where we are telling Matchpoint how to interact when extracting and updating. In this case, for the extract and update folder, we're going to use the same. We can have multiple options here. If we were able to connect to the internet, we will be able to have a Subversion repository, but that is not possible at this moment. So we're going to have everything local. So we were going to have the update and the extract directory be the same. Normally you will have an extract location that's going to be a share folder, an update directory is going to be also a share folder that the developer and the model manager will have access. In this case, we're just going to use the same just for time purpose. And we're going to define where is our group model. So we have a group model here. Okay, default path group model. Who's going to be the model administrator. And we're going to rename the extract. So we're going to check this. We're going to tell that for the prefix, it's going to have the user. And for the suffix, it's going to have the date. So every time we extract a local model, we will have those as part of the name. We will have the name template. We will have the user, Conf 2020, then the name that we did in the template, and the date, and that will be able to identify each model. Okay, so this is going to be another 5 minutes. Let's see how many time, so we're kind of a little behind. So let's do this right now. So if I may try to give less time, but yeah. So what we did is just define a model template. The model template technique in Matchpoint is very useful because the model administrator or the lead developers define what the model will be, how the model will be configured, what option in the generator option will be contained, and we can use that just to extract our root model, sorry, our local model when we assign a change request. And we don't have to, the developer doesn't have to worry about model configuration when you're working with multiple versions. So it's very useful for management to use. And it works with Subversion repository for the good model also, so it's very useful. So I'm going to continue with that because we're running out of time. So just let's stop this and we will continue with the next steps. Like I told you, if you are not able to finish each step, the lab is going to be available for you to continue. And if you have any questions, just send me an email and I can reply back. Okay, so continue with the process. We just define how whenever we need to extract a local model, how MatchPoint is going to handle that, where it's going to put the local model. So we define that the local model is going to be at LN extracted. Okay, so we will have that here. The local model is going to be extracted here. It's going to connect or log in to the group model that is here. Okay, but the local model is going to be placed LN extracted. And from here, also MatchPoint is going to take the updated local model to update the group model. Okay, so we have that. So now we're going to create a change request. That is, this is kind of the day-to-day work. So to do that, just go to change request or select edit change request. And we're going to add a new one. Just click on the add button. And we will define the description. Oh, sorry. First, add a new change request and select for which application this change request is going to work, because different applications have different configuration. So we will define that. Let's select. In this case, we're going to select the lab. There's something missing in the step. We're going to select the lab. And now on the change request, create change request panel, we're going to add just a couple of values here. The name, this is something that is mandatory. The status, we're going to put it in deployment and development, sorry, because we are going to develop. The requester is done automatically. You can define the developer. In this case, it's going to be the same. You can have the designer and you can have the tester, all that information you find. And MatchPoint automatically know which environment this is. This is in development right now. Okay, and that's all we need. You just click apply, and this creates create the change request. You will see here, just to make it better, you can select the application here, conference, and the version here, just to see those the change requests that are related to that version and not see anything else. Okay, so we have that change request. We created a change request. And now we're going to extract a local model for that change request. To do that, we select the change request and there is a button kind of the end that says play model. Here, there's a button that says extract model. And here you will find the one that you just created, the one that says Conference Lab. Just make sure that you select that template. So Plex is going to use that template information to be able to extract the new one. Just select that. And here is going to give you an option to rename the description. This is just, for example, test or lab test. It's just a description. There's not related to anything besides just a data in MatchPoint that can help you to identify or find your model based on some information. So you will click apply. And now the process is begin. So MatchPoint is going to open Plex, is going to do a copy of the template. As you can see now, this is says Conf 2020 conference, and the date should be at the end. Maybe it's too long. That's the reason why they didn't fit. Okay, and this is just an empty model that we have the configuration that was defined in the template. Okay, this has all the configuration that we defined in the template, and we just need to extract. And this is a normal process in Plex. You just log in to the group model. But now you just need to extract the host because all the libraries are extracted in the template. So you just extract the host. Okay, when you extract it, you will see now that you have the object there. You save your local model as you normally do. You close Plex. And you tell MatchPoint, yeah, everything was extracted correctly. And it says successfully. And you refresh here. So now we have a local model assigned to our change request. Okay. And after that, we just need to make the change in Plex. So I'm going to do that. Click here. So, yeah. So we're going to make the change in Plex. So to open Plex, we can do it from MatchPoint. So you can double click the model that you just assigned. This will open Plex. And the first thing that you need to do is create a list with the number of the change request. The change request. In this case is number 6. That is because that's the way we have integrated with MatchPoint in this configuration. So you will create a list like this, or in the model editor, the easiest way that you normally create a list. So you will create a list. And the list will have the number of the change request, and then you will have the objects. Okay, you will add the objects that you want to work with. Contains functions. Let's add another function. Okay. So when you look at your list, this is just Plex work. You will have that. Okay, you will make the changes that you need, whatever changes that you want to do. There's something I put there. Okay, you make the changes, and then you, based on the exercise, you will generate and build this. Make the test. It's taking some time in Plex for some reason. So it's asking you to set the build path. So the build path is just there. You just need to click apply default. Oops. So default, sorry, and apply default. And click OK. That is one of the part of the. So now you can generate and build this. make the test, everything that you want to work with. And this is going to be a Windows application. Okay, and while you have Plex open, you can import those objects to the Mashpoint. So go to the change request, select the promotions. Promotion is the way that Mashpoint group objects, so you can have multiple promotions. For example, you have the first promotion where you have the objects, and something failed, and you need to include a new object. Then you can create another promotion, and in that promotion include just the object, and that just can help you to actually find or actually maintain a more understandable what has happened with that change. So you can even revert by promotion. So for example, if you apply a promotion 1, promotion 2, and you want to revert, you can revert based on promotion. So it's very important to have that. This machine is behaving really slow to generate, so I don't want to wait for that. So yeah, so go to the change request, define the promotion, and then define the object that is going to be in the promotion. We have multiple ways to get the object. We can import from the system I, from the 400, from file import from Plex. In this case, we're going to import from Plex. Make sure that Plex is open so that you can access the Plex API model. So just click Plex import. And as we have the integration with the list, it's going to detect that the list number 6 is there. And it's going to import the objects. Click OK. And click close. And you will have all the objects. You can see even though in Plex, we're just working with this function, Mashpoint detects that, oh, this function is a DLL and a PNL because this is a window application. We need to have those two objects to be able to promote. And that helps a lot because there's no need to define or to select manually the objects. Mashpoint understand depending on the platform that you're running, if this is a Java or not. Okay, so we have the objects here. I'm going to finish the exercise just to show you that. Click apply. And when you click apply, let me show you that. The exercise shows you to actually to do that. So we have the common dev folder, right? So there is nothing here, but when we click OK, so we say that, yeah, those are the files that we're working on. They ask you to move you from your personal environment to the development environment. Okay, and now you see in the dev objects, there are all those new objects ready to be promoted. Okay, so now we just close our Plex model, we save it. And I'm going to finish the exercise because we just run out of time, and I just want to show you everything here. So yeah, we finished that, we just add that. And yeah, we promote from our development to, we're going to promote from dev to QA. Okay, so we have those promotion ready. So we just click OK to the promotion object. We go back to the change request. And there is a button there that says promote. So now you will see that, for example, in the QA environment, the object is going to be moved. And this is true for all the different environments, AS400, Java. So this is the way that Plex Mashpoint move the object from one environment to the next. It's the same for object. If there was any object previously, it will create a backup in the folder with the number 6. That means the change request, and the second two number is the promotion. So if there was any previous object there, Matchpoint will have back them up, and you can revert that later. So right now you will see that Matchpoint has been promoted from development. Now it's in testing status, and it's being promoted to the quality assurance environment. And it's just following the process. We promote from quality to production the same way. Okay. That is finished. So the promotion of the object is finished. Everything is okay. So now what we need to do is just update the group model. To do that, we just select this option, or as the exercise says, you go to extra model manager, edit model, and select normal. And this is the one that you're working on for the change request number 6. And you can, I don't recall what's the button here. I just forgot what option I need to do. Update group model and select blue up arrow. This one. Click the update button. Sorry, this is the one. I always get confused with that. So we're just going to, okay. So this is one of the things that we need to do. Let's install with that a little bit more. That I just told you before about Plex, Tax Manager. So Plex, even though I close it didn't close the generator. So Plex is there open, doing nothing, just doesn't want to die. And that's why we have this message. You click here. So there is a Plex instance running, and it doesn't allow us to continue. So as you saw, there is no Plex open, so you can easily click and pass without problem. That will solve all problem. Yep. And then we can continue with the process to update. So now we open our local model. We have our changes. We just log in as normal. And we update. We give a description. Model updated. So yep, everything is updated. And we're going to close Plex. And then we tell Matchpoint that is updated correctly. And that is the end of the process. So we have that finished. We have that finished. The main exercise, at least I was able to show you that. I know I won't have time for this, but you can try that. We went over time, so if you have any question, please let me know. There is my email in that. The recording are going to be available next week. And this lab is going to be available. My understanding is at least next week. You can work with that, and you can try to play with that and follow the exercise. If you have any doubt, please let me know. And yeah, that will be all for today in this lab. Sorry, the time didn't get all that we wanted to do, but yeah. Just chat me or ask me if you have any question. If not, thank you very much for being with me in this session to show you Matchpoint. Matchpoint is very configurable, so we try to go to the easiest of the application. And yeah, just let me know. Just let me know if you have any questions. And yeah, thank you very much. Thank you for attending the conference. Please register or attend the next lab that we have. We have very good labs that are still on the way. So thank you very much, and yeah, bye.